And I'm absolutely staggered by this. The Premier of Victoria, Jacinta Allen, she's passionately and dogmatically insisted that transgender kids are 15 times more likely to commit suicide. I think you responded pretty strongly. You said that was false and dangerous.
Mm-hmm. There's kind of two viewpoints here. There's the viewpoint of the people inside the gender clinic that, everybody has a gender identity. They know their gender identity. It's our job to affirm it. And then there's the mostly sane people outside the gender clinics who are not going to go along with that unless you give them a reason. And now I described a treatment pathway that leads to significant physical and mental harm and to sterility. There is only one circumstance in which we would do a treatment for a child that leads to those harms, and that is that the child would die otherwise. So if you have a child with a fatal cancer, you would give them radiation treatment or chemotherapy even if you knew that was going to sterilise them, because they're going to die otherwise. So the suicide narrative is essential to put the weight on the other side of the scales before you are going to seriously harm your child physically, mentally. So that's why they say it. And the evidence that they use was never any good. It's based on very poor quality online surveys that are not at all representative. There's a couple of them done, one in America that gets mined over and over again. There were no checks on where people were. You could fill it in as many times as you liked. It was advertised through trans networks, that you were entered into a prize. The data quality was terrible. They know this because they've looked to see what people said they'd been treated on. And a very large number of people, in essence, said they had been on puberty blockers over the age of 18, which is never given. And then from that, they say that it's not actually suicide, it's attempted suicide or suicidality. Thinking about suicide is higher in that group. Since then, there have been some rigorous studies, one in Finland and one in the UK. And what they have found is that there are a lot of comorbidities for people who say they're trans as children. That means other conditions. So the kids who are seen in the gender clinics, the 2 gender clinics in Finland, are far more likely than other children to have had, family breakdown, to have been abused, to have ADHD, autism spectrum disorder, self-harm, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, all of these other things. And those increase the risk of suicidality. And when you control for those, the excess risk for trans identification is 0.